Alright guys, welcome to the WeTransForm show. This is a place where we call real life transformers and know their story in first person. Why? Because we all need transformation sometime in our lives. There is something that needs to change, and it is great to learn from those who made those changes. Today our guest is Shanti Schiks, and she is joining us from Amsterdam. She is committed to help people to come out of their most difficult times. She studied social work and always had an interest for spirituality and mindfulness. In the summer of 2016, she had to face a loss of her son, his grandmother, and her ex. A loss that can break down the strongest person you know. She made self-love and consciousness her medicine. She learned that you can't break love, and it is her mission to share her message of choosing love in any circumstances. She has written 2 books and have given a TEDx talk in 2019. She is living example of a real transformer, and she has made helping others with self-love as a mission for her life. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Shanti to our show. Welcome, Shanti.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel honored.
And, great, beautiful. What a delight to have you here. So guys, let me tell you something, how I know Shanti. We both were a part of a group on Facebook which was called Build Your Brand, that was initiated by Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. Those who know these names will understand what awesome work they are doing. And I heard her story. She was kind of creating something on that group. And the moment I heard a snippet of her story, I knew that this is a transformer I am watching. And one day we need to bring this transformer to tell the story to all of you. So Shanti has an incredible story. But before I get to that story, I'm really curious to know, Shanti, you're a Dutch, and this name is an Indian name. I guess it's a Sanskrit name. Why Shanti?
Very good question. Why Shanti? Well, I was raised by, I could say, hippie parents who were interested in spirituality, and they took me to India every year as a child. So I visited an ashram there, and they were following a guru, maybe I could say it like that, a spiritual teacher. And that's how I also got my name.
Wow.
So with India.
Yeah, great. So that's the Indian connection that has got you the name. Beautiful. Beautiful name. In fact, it rhymes so well. You know, the first name and last name rhymes as well. So that sounds good as well. Great to know your Indian connections. So great. So Shanti, tell us something about your, early life. We would really like to know what has made you, what has been your start of the journey. So tell us something about yourself.
Well, as I told you before, I'm raised spiritually, and with that I mean is that I went to this ashram in India as a child, like every year. I was interested in spiritual subjects. Like when I was about 19, I read Eckhart Tolle, and I was in love with that book because apart from that I love spirituality, I also could think a lot. So I could be a lot in my mind. And this book of Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, taught me that I am not my mind. So that was a quite beautiful lesson for me then. And I studied social work. And in this study, I ended my how do you say that in English? Thesis, or my end part. How did I finish it? I finished it with a here and now game.
Okay.
So this tells that my interest in spirituality was always there, like from a young age. But I also, apart from this, I was also a teenager, and I loved going out. I loved boys, and I was always either in love or in a relationship from about 15 years old to 26, 27. And it's about 7 years ago now that I met Thomas, my ex. And he really seemed to be this charming, funny guy, intelligent, curly hair. And he finished an international school, and within no time I had a great connection with his mother as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it all seemed to be right. It felt like a fairy tale. It really was like, I didn't know this existed like this, that it goes so easy and so quickly. And yeah, as I said, quickly, we also started to live together quite fast.
Okay.
And I got pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
which wasn't really planned, but it was totally wanted. I mean, and I felt a bit insecure then already, though, because there were sometimes some troubles in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I think we both had our insecurities, and we both had our past. But sometimes with him, it seemed to reach a bit of a intense level.
Okay.
So there were some anger management problems, a very sweet and kind side, but also a bit of a angry and frustrated side. So it started to seem like he had a bit of two faces.
Okay.
But I was like, we all have things. I'm also insecure sometimes. I'm also not perfect. And he shows me in his words that he wants to work on it now that I'm pregnant and we want to, so he was promising me to go to therapy and everything, but he didn't really walk his talk.
All right.
So during my pregnancy, after I gave labor to my wonderful son, Alvin, things in the relationship didn't really get better. They even got a bit worse. And I started to feel scared more and more in this. Yeah, it actually started to feel like a jail, the relationship. So when Alvin was 9 months, I decided to leave. Police was even involved. It got quite intense at that day.
Mm-hmm.
But although this all happened, I felt like I want him to be the father still, because he has never did a mean thing to his son Alvin. And Thomas and me both, we had divorced parents.
Okay.
So I wanted a father for Alvin, and I tried to do the shared parenthood thing. So I brought Alvin to the mother of Thomas, Pauline, which also became like a mother for me and for Alvin, because before we broke up, I came there like every week with him, and he was always like very happy to see her, and she was like a mother for him too, for Alvin. Mm-hmm. And at the 9 months, Alvin was 9 months when we broke up, and when he was 11 months and 11 days, on the 22nd of July in 2016, I came to pick up my son Alvin at Pauline, so that's the mother of Thomas. And at that day, he killed his own mother and his son, and he tried to kill me as well. And I survived, as you can see. And he killed himself also after he killed them. So that's quite a very intense story. I'm sorry to.
No, this is so strong to kind of see a person in front of you who is telling you this story. I have a son who is just 1 year old in September, and I know the thought itself is like giving me chills. Wow. So what after that, Shanti?
Well,
I'm sorry.
Feel blessed. No, you're blessed with a beautiful son, and you know how it is. You're a father, so you know how it is to feel the connection with your child.
Yeah.
And,
Shanti, I do not have the authority to say I can feel what you have felt. Nobody has authority to say that. You can just sense it. You can just feel it, and it's something very, very different from what you normally hear. One day and three people of your life are no more.
We were on the same round table in our house, and then all of a sudden the three of them were gone. So that is almost for me too, still too intense for words. But after this loss, I really felt, and that might sound, I still feel it every day. I still feel the connection with my son Elvin. And I learned the true meaning of self-love and consciousness by this, because at that day I made a decision, and it came from something bigger than I am. I think we all are this intelligent energy. Mm-hmm. And it spoke and it said, I'm going to live for Elvin, his grandmother Pauline, and myself now. I am going to write about this. And I'm going to choose love. I'm going to keep on choosing love and not the hate and the fear where this happened out of. So my ex was very ill in the end, and also during the relationship quite ill. But I'm not going to live in hate and frustration. I'm going to make something out of life. It was there. It was there at that day already. And with that, I don't want to say that there was no pain. And of course, there were waves with loss. You come across waves of sadness and waves of frustration and anger. But with that decision, I think it helped me to really become the mate of my soul, to really start loving myself, to really embrace both dark and light, and say to myself, hug myself and say, it's okay on a sad day. Feel it, feel the emotion, feel the sadness, really feel it without feeding it. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, so by embracing the fact that this happened, by accepting what had happened and couldn't be changed. Yeah. I don't know any magician or person who is able to bring them back. So this is what it is. Also miracles started to happen, like synchronicity, and I started to see the number 1111 everywhere, or 11:8, and my son was 11 months, 11 days, called Elvin, which also has the 11 in Dutch in it. Okay. He was 11 kilos, many things with 11. Okay, I see. He came 11 months, 11 days. So it's, I really learned through this loss that you can't break love, and love always remains. Wow, this is beautiful to hear that. In fact, I have witnessed and I have got chance to speak to some people who have gone through loss. But the way you express it, and then the way you have transformed your life, and you've added self-love, is a rare to find thing. And that's why I think a lot of people in this world need to learn this. A lot of us need to kind of really evolve the way you have found your path. I can totally say it would not be easy. Nothing is easy when some things like this happen in our lives. But choosing happiness, choosing self-love, it has a strength in its own. I guess that's like so beautiful. This 11 thing is something which is very profound. And I was listening to your TED talk some days back, and I heard that the power of 11 as well. So how does 11, the number, impacts you in your life? What is the significance that it carries in the things which you do? Well, it's I created a method, and it's also called after my son, the self-in method. Okay. So it's 11 in Dutch is 11, so elf-in. Okay. But self-in is to go within. Okay. So it's, and 11, I see it many times at many places. It's not like, oh my God, it's an 11, I have to go in there. It's not that I'm, going crazy after the 11s. Yeah. But it's mostly when I do watch something or somewhere, I see it very often. And I don't know, I don't really, to me, it only gives a validation that I'm on the right track. And I don't want to add a whole story on it, like, oh, it's Elvin there and he's on my shoulder and he's with, nothing is really certain. But the feeling it gives me is really like I'm on the right track. And it really is my mission to share about the insights that this loss brought me, and about to inspire people to choose love over fear in whatever circumstances they are in. Self-love really is helpful with that, because you can be compassionate and kind towards yourself in any situation. And this is really helpful to be a happy human being, embracing both dark and light.
Yeah, embracing both dark and light, that's very strong. In fact, Shanti, I see that we all talk about terms like resilience, we talk about being strong. But when it comes to something like this, which and it is not about just losing somebody in your life. It can be losing a job as well, because so many people around the
Mm-hmm.
world have lost their jobs. So many people I know personally, I because I'm very active on LinkedIn, I keep listening to those stories where they're looking out for work, and they don't know how to get the bread next day. This situation is also very shocking. How do we actually go about it? How do we accept it and actually move on? Because see, the whole power is in the present. When we move on, we do act upon it. Things really become better in life. But if we stop and start crying non-stop, things get a little weird, and you always go to the downward spiral. I want to know
Yeah.
something about, you have this 11 steps which you have mentioned in your book as
Mhm.
well. Would you like to share some of them here, with our audience, because I think they would be really
Yes.
helpful. Yeah.
Well, to come back to what you were saying, it's wonderful you share about this, and also, I mean, it's a big thing going on in the world. Like you said,
Yeah.
people losing their jobs, they can't even buy food anymore. And I have to say, like you said, towards my story, I'm sorry for them, and I cannot relate because I've never been in a situation where I couldn't eat, So it's yeah, it's I think the world is waiting for big changes, beautiful changes, where
Yes.
we all share a bit more. And
Yeah.
my mission is part of that. And what really for me is the essence of self-love, for example, and Eckhart Tolle always has been a big inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
is acceptance. So um, I don't say it's okay what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I say it happened, and I go on, so I accept it. So it's not really, in a way, I say it's okay. I don't say it's good or it had to go that way, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the for me that was the reason why I could heal from the trauma partly, why I could go
Right.
on, why I could see the beautiful things again, because I by accepting it I could flow through it
Mm-hmm.
and go on with life, live in the present instead of staying in the past, thinking about everything that I have lost,
Mm-hmm.
that this will never happen again, this will never happen, this will, if I do that, I can I
Yeah.
can get myself crazy.
Yeah.
And in my book, I call it feeling versus feeding, and
Okay.
feeling has the L of letting go.
Okay.
So you really go to the sensation, the sadness, the frustration in your body, and feeding contains the letter D, and
Mm-hmm.
it has drama.
All
So
right.
if you go into a story all the time about how worse your situation is, for example, how bad your situation is, I mean, you can make it bigger and bigger and bigger.
All right. Okay.
Does that sound clear to you, or?
Yeah, I'm getting it right. So, it's we say, where do you put your energies? Are you putting your energy in understanding or living what has gone out? You're giving more power to the loss, and if you're saving your energy and giving to something which is more positive, I guess that becomes powerful. I guess it is connecting
Yeah, I
there.
think, yeah. But more positive, yeah, it's more like being with it. Also positive, absolutely. I believe really in
Mm-hmm.
choosing more and more positive thoughts. But I think in the end, positive and negative are the same sides of one coin.
Fine. Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just to be with what happened, just to also be with the painful moments, be with it, and
Yeah.
don't
Don't.
try to
Yeah.
push them away, or
Close it.
think
Yes.
positive so you don't have to feel it. You really have to feel the fear or the sadness. I really had some days, and still, I mean, I'm a human being. I think until I'm 80 I'm gonna go like this through life, and that's fine. That's what we're here for, I believe.
Yes.
I'm not enlightened, if I always make the joke, if you're looking for enlightenment, put on a lamp, because it's well,
Right.
I mean, I believe Eckhart Tolle could be enlightened, but for the rest, to me it's a bit. And I also love this idea of living in a fifth dimension, but on the other hand, there's a danger that people sometimes only want to live in love and light. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have rainy days, we have day and night, we have yin and yang, right? So
Yeah.
if we only live in love and light, we wouldn't recognize it anymore, because it's always the same.
Shanti,
So
I can relate so much with this. And second is that, this whole motivational world, because, from last since lockdown, I've been listening to a lot of motivational talk. Sometimes I felt that, a lot of motivational talk is a lot around the positive side of it, but none of it was speaking about accepting what is wrong going on. It's like pushing them under the carpet, that okay, just don't look at what has happened, just go, come on, you can do it. How? How would you do it? It's a part of you, as you said, it's just a part of you.
well, I love what you say, and it's also, I think it's a good way to go on with life. Like, okay, let's do this. And when I started meditating on Joe Dispenza's meditations 1 year ago,
Hmm.
um, I came across a lot of anger in me, and I even
Okay.
got some help with a therapist, and because it was a new part in me that had to be faced. So I had to face that, and then I could feel the joy again more, and feel the in which I. So it's really going like this. And of course, it's nice to get up every day and have discipline, do your things,
Hmm.
but it can't be always smiling and happiness. Sometimes we
Yes.
also come across other emotions, and it's so important to embrace them.
True.
And
Hmm.
yeah, I think also gratefulness is one of a very important step, to just be grateful, live in the moment. Those are mostly the insights. They're quite universal. They're also not mine, the book,
Hmm.
the self-in method really has to do with sensing, with feeling whatever you're feeling, and after that choosing positive thoughts,
Right.
choosing, okay, what are your goals, what are you, and how does it feel when you reach your goal.
Yeah.
So, for example, you want to set up a great business. How does it feel when you have the business? And start feeling that feeling of, that's
That's,
because I believe we're all energy,
yes, it's
we're all
very powerful.
frequency.
Right.
And then, but sometimes to feel that energy of the great company or the big
Hmm.
car or just inner peace, even more important, I think.
Right.
You sometimes first have to feel other things. It's like, yeah, you also, if you, for example, haven't really felt seen as a child and you never
Hmm.
worked with that, it might be
Hmm.
still in the background, and then
Hmm.
it's always coming back, those
Yeah.
patterns. But it's good to embrace them, to face them when they show up, and to hold space. And this is what it's about. My book actually is also my method is about learning to hold space for yourself, also in all
Hmm.
these.
So how can we get your book, and how can we get to read your book, Shanti?
I'm looking for a translator actually, because
All
it's
right.
only in Dutch. So if,
Acha.
it's here, and as you can see, it's called you cannot see because it's in Dutch, but it's called The Power of Self-Love,
All right. Okay,
and
I
it's
see.
with the self-in way in 11 steps
Hmm.
to love yourself.
All right, I see. So of course, so
Yeah,
maybe we find a translator in India, somebody who can do it in English and Hindi both, because
would be
I guess
great.
a lot of people need to, learn these methods, learn these things. It is so strong. I think this is very profound and beautiful, Shanti. I guess a lot of us need to really know and understand. As I said, that we all see and listen to these stories of being very strong or being very resilient, but listening to a practical example like this is something which we really need to do, to really get that strength to pull back in times which are the darkest in our life. I have one more question, and I don't know if you have listened to this question, if that comes across to you. A lot of times people confuse self love with being selfish. What is the difference? Is there a difference between the two? Because some people just don't do that because they feel that the world will perceive me as being selfish, and it is self love actually.
Yeah, I love that question. It's also I think a beautiful example is to say, for example, narcissism
Mm-hmm.
is an illness, which is a big subject in the world. It's they say you're a narcissist when you love yourself. For example, you love yourself too much.
Too
But the
much, yeah.
thing is with if the thing is with narcissism actually is that people who have narcissistic traits a lot, or have the illness narcissism, they don't love themselves, and they're looking for this external validation all the time. So they try to get attention from this, from that, from there, and they can be very like present, or how do you say that, like very loud, and they don't necessarily have to be, by the way. You also have them, I think, this illness, it just has to do with searching for validations from others, right?
So I got it.
A friend of me said a beautiful thing. She said, she attended a workshop, and she said, it's so beautiful that you help and inspire people to love themselves, because if everyone loves themselves, everyone will be loved.
Wow.
And if you're in a plane that's about to crash, I hope you never will be. You get the air, you get the mask with oxygen, right? And you have to put it on your own face first before you put it on the others.
Correct.
And if people are content with themselves, if they can give themselves a compliment, if they can take some self-care, how wonderful is it that you fill up your own tank with love, and you can share this love with others.
Wow. I guess this is gold. This, what you said, is absolute gold, Shanti. And all the couples out there who are listening to this, guys, learn to love yourself first, because once you do, you attract love as well in your life. And I think that's like really, really powerful. So Shanti, that's just beautiful sharing from your side. Really, you spoke from heart. And if you have to give a message to the audience, what would that be? And also tell us something about what you're doing right now to help people.
Well, it's beautiful how you just said that. Thank you. And it's true. If you love yourself, you'll attract love. I totally believe that. And I also believe that self-love is a journey and not an end destination. So the other day, someone asked me, how did you get there? And I'm like, I'm still on my way. It's a journey. It's a journey. I'm not somewhere where you are not. We're all in different journeys, but it's all good where we at. And that's I think the most important thing, to value yourself in your journey, and to be proud every day a bit more on yourself. If you're working on yourself, that's enough. That's enough. Wow. And at the moment I'm working on an online program. In Dutch it's finished, but I'm gonna make it in October. I will make it in English too. So if people are interested, they can find me on Facebook or Instagram by my name, Shanti Schiks. And
sure. So guys, I'm going to share the link, her Instagram handle and her Facebook page link here below in the details section. Do follow her. I follow her on Instagram, and Shanti comes up with some incredibly inspiring stuff almost every day. Do follow her. And Shanti, thank you so much for joining us today, sharing your story, inspiring all of us, and stirring something inside us, definitely, with what you are doing with your life, with the life of others who are near you. That's incredible contribution to this world. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bless you so much. Thank you so much for your kind words, and I really felt honored to be in your show. So good luck with that, and thank you.
So guys, this was Shanti, and her story has a different kind of power in it. She has used the pain, the anger, the frustration, the loss, and converted it into love. Love has a different kind of power in itself. Love can do wonders, be it the love to others, be it the love towards ourselves. And self-love has a different kind of magic. As she rightly said, when you start loving yourself, the world starts loving you as well. People get attracted towards you because you are a self-loving person. We have a lot to learn from her story, not because what has happened in our life, but what can happen in our life. Life is full of unpredictable things. It is full of surprises. And it is so much important to have self-love in our life. We all need it. We all deserve it. So guys, this is all for this week. We had a beautiful conversation with Shanti today. We'll come back with somebody else next week, one more transformer. And if you have a story to be told in this show, or if you feel that there is a story somewhere of a transformer that should be shown on this show, do get in touch with me. Also, if you found today's episode helpful and really meaningful in some way, do share it with others, because there is somebody out there who needs to learn this self-love as well. See you next week. Till then, goodbye.